Hello everyone and welcome to the channel if you're new, or welcome back if you are one of the recurring viewers. Today I'm going to work on a set of heels, which is again a bit of a detail work where I wanted to try to create an object with more detail to it. The general theme of this is based on AI generated images that I had the Imagine AI generate for me, and the theme is, or the prompt that I used is made out of a sandal boot, high heel, ancient Roman culture, jewelry, accessories, chains, and then masterpiece, elegant and best quality, to root out a bit of the lesser well generated images. And I've picked a few of the images that I used as reference material and put them in the actual film, so you will actually get to see those I used. You will see basically the reference material. As you can see, the start was a bit bumpy because I couldn't decide how I wanted to start with this project, if I wanted to do one big object or if I wanted to do multiple objects, and in the end I decided for multiple objects that were loosely aligned with each other, but when I later thickened them, this worked out pretty well. Now the first AI generated image is coming up right now. As you can see, again the prompt: sandal boot, high heel, as usual for me, ancient Roman culture, which is mostly shown in the back, but it also adds a bit to the footwear itself, and again accessories, chains and jewelry, just to give it a bit more detail that I then can put into the object. And you can see that I actually let go of the chains, because you will see that the chains that the image generator is creating or is generating are actually not that closely fit to the object, so I left them out. Also, one of the things is that the shoes, or that whenever I generate an image with shoes, whenever I render one myself, then usually the shoes are very small detail, that unless they are like thigh-high boots, they really don't make up that much of the content of the image. You can see that at the very end of this video, where I have the render, and you can just check it out and see how small the boots actually are in relation to the whole render itself. But yeah, AI generated images, I started using those as a form of reference material because often it is easier to generate something than to scour the internet and find something that actually works for my own idea. And it is often easier and faster to generate this image myself than create something just from thin air, which is a challenge in itself, but it works, or it kind of works, and it just helps having a reference material at hand. In general, though, I still prefer to make my own content. As you can see, I'm working with a freeform kind of approach here. I'm not using, or I'm barely not using, any of the pre-made forms. For example, what I'm doing right now, the straps on on top of the foot, or going around the foot, I made these more or less from scratch, instead of using, for example, a tube that I then fit, because working with a freeform or a freehand style often yields better results. You can also see me copy pasting a few pieces that I then realign, which often works better than using a pre-made form. And it is similar with the AI. It is a helpful thing to generate the image with an AI, but I think it is still worth going and actually using it as a reference to draw self or create yourself. But that's just me. Let me know if you use AI generated images and what you think about it in the comments. I would be really curious to know what users or viewers of my content think about that topic. And as you can see in the images, the next one is coming up. There is a certain limit to it. If you look at the image right now, you can see that the chain is just lying on the ground and going away from the boot, so it's not really connected to the boot itself. I thought about, for example, making the chain part of the heel, like having it wind around the heel or having it connected to the heel and then going up, but this would be such a minor detail in the end, and it would mostly not be visible when the heel is hidden under the foot or under the shoe, that I decided against it. But in general, the AI images make it relatively hard to actually incorporate certain details. If you make the prompt too big, it just loses a lot of content, so to say. Yeah, last piece is making the gems. This is a rather unusual get-go for the gem. I wanted to try something different with it, and yeah, I'm kind of happy with how it worked out. Yeah, this is something that I took from the images, and you can see it in the next one coming up in just a few seconds. The amount of adornment, the amount of gemstones, of jewelry on it was very intense. So I tried to go with the same thing, and I'm still thinking about adding a few pieces, but I think I'll let it leave as it is. That said, I will incorporate this AI and these images into my work from here on, because it's a really helpful thing. Yeah, if you look at the image, you can see that the chain again is kind of off, and while there are a few interesting details on the shoes, it's still, I basically broke it down to some essentials without going overboard on this. But yeah, let me know what you think about the whole process and if you yourself use AI in your work. Right now, from what I've seen and what I've learned myself, is that at least 3D image generation is not that easy for AI yet. That might be due to lack of, I don't think it's due to lack of training material, which is another interesting topic to talk about in the last remaining minute. But yeah, I think the training material for AI is very interesting because, as you can see, it worked with my prompt relatively well. It gave me a lot of images that were close to each other but not identical. And I think this is something that will only get better. Like, we learned that the text generation AI seems to become dumber because it is starting to train on itself, and that leaves it more open for mistakes. But I think image generation will just get better because people like me will make AI generated will make images, and the AI can also train on itself easier because it can stamp out mistakes better. But I'm not an expert, so I don't know if that is actually true, and we'll see in the future how much of our content will actually be AI generated here. I know that some people do their thumbnails with AI. I am not one of these people. I'm doing those myself by hand. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and enjoyed the render, and I will see you guys around.